Welcome to Step Up and Thrive, where you get quick and easy tips on business management, productivity, stress management, work-life balance, and marketing. I am Tuuli Paaksi, personal development coach, and my task here is to introduce you to various ways to succeed in business while keeping your sanity. Hello to everybody who is listening to this first episode of the brand new podcast, Step Up and Thrive. It's so funny that it's been my dream to host my own podcast for 5 years already, and still I managed to host a couple of summits before I started my podcast. And the summit wasn't on my dream list at all. It just happened. Before we go to 3 prerequisites for a successful business, let me introduce myself. My name is Tuuli Paaksi. I am a mom, entrepreneur for more than 20 years now, certified coach, facilitator, pragmatic practitioner, and so much more. I studied chemical engineering, where I developed a structured and logical approach to everything. Then I worked as an international project coordinator and manager, which amplified this approach. I started my career and business in Estonia. A little more than 10 years ago, I moved to neighboring country, Finland, where I got my 2 kids and depression and burnout. Now I see that burnout as a blessing. Back then, it was the end of my world. I've been lucky to have great colleagues, coaches, and mentors to lean on. And on top of that, I learned different easy and pragmatic tools over the years. It is so much easier to return to so-called normal life when you have a good toolbox and good peers to help you. Actually, I am a fan of all kinds of easy and pragmatic tools. Being an entrepreneur and a mom means that I have to be pragmatic in everything. If I find an easier solution, I pick it over more difficult and time-consuming ways of doing something. There is one thing I'd like to emphasize. Using easy and pragmatic tools doesn't mean that you have to do something hurriedly or that the result will be less tidy or lower quality. No, it's not that. I'm speaking here about creating systems, having templates, and knowing tips that save you time, like keyboard shortcuts, for example. Can you imagine how much time you could save with different easy and pragmatic tools? I mentioned before that this burnout was a blessing. Please let me explain that. First, it required me to concentrate on myself. Till my burnout, it was business, kids, hobby, home, studies, relatives, friends, clients. I forgot the most important in this equation, myself. I guess you've heard about oxygen masks on the airplanes. Regardless of how weak or ill or injured your neighbor is, you have to put on your own mask first. After you have this luxury, you can breathe again, you can concentrate on helping your neighbor. Actually, as traveling has been pretty difficult lately, and in some countries even impossible, it is good that I can now remind you that taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's a necessity. You cannot do anything for your business, kids, hobby, home, studies, relatives, friends, or clients if you cannot breathe. So, take care of yourself. Don't forget that you are the most important person in your life. The second lesson from my burnout is that I remembered the importance of having fun. I had forgotten how to have fun over the years. Moving to different country and working with new people created fear in me that others wouldn't take me seriously. I had to prove myself that I could work as much as locals with as high quality in spite of having little kids. And this fear made me stiff and deadly serious. Did you know that laughing is like taking a super vitamin? Laughter makes you feel refreshed and full of energy. Laughter adds happy hormones into your bloodstream. It also reduces stress. I have never watched so many funny animal videos than I did after my burnout. And I can confirm they really help. After the first funny animal video session, I felt so much better. This urged me to continue these sessions every day, or funny movies, or stand-ups. And have you noticed that when you are happy and joyful, everything is easier? Your work, interactions with people, and even parenting. So why not add this secret ingredient to your business as well? What makes you laugh? What makes you happy? I suggest that when you feel stressed, anxious, or depressed, add more joy and laughter to your life. The third lesson from my burnout is that I changed the type of people I spent time with. It turned out that I was communicating with people who were abusive, not physically, but in words. No wonder I felt bad, wrong, and not sufficient all the time. There are different types of people. People with whom you interact every day. These people can be your family, colleagues, best friends, neighbors. Then people with whom you interact occasionally. Maybe your relatives, business contacts, friends. And then people with whom you interact randomly, such as old contacts with whom you have felt the pressure to keep communicating. I had unsupportive and abusive people from all these types in my life. I had to find ways to diminish the time and frequency of contact with them. The most effective tool was gathering people around me who supported me. So, if I had an old contact who was positive and supportive, I started to communicate with her more frequently. I also looked for new people from training or networking events, from social gatherings, from work, from hobbies, so that finally the number of supportive people around me overweighted the abusive ones. Do you have people around you who don't support you, who blame you, who make you feel bad and wrong? Find ways to limit your interaction with them. And most importantly, gather people around you who support you. Don't underestimate the power of inspiration, encouragement, motivation, and support. These 3 lessons from my burnout are 3 prerequisites for every successful business. The first is taking care of yourself. The second is adding fun and joy to your life. And the third is gathering supportive and inspirational people around you. Thank you for joining me for the very first episode of the Step Up and Thrive podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast and Invite your friends, colleagues, and collaborators to listen to this podcast as well. There will be some solo episodes and a lot of interviews with different experts, consultants, and coaches. All of them packed with useful tips for you to step up and thrive. Meet you soon.